Welcome to Unapologetically Badass, the podcast for women over 40 who are done dimming their light. I'm your host, Renee Fleming, coach, queen, and master of the midlife glow up. Solo chats, epic guests, no filter. Let's freaking go. Hello there, my friends. Welcome back to another episode of Unapologetically Badass. I am so excited to have this dear, wonderful, kind, sweet woman with us today, Erica Saccoccio. She is an early childhood powerhouse, the multi-site childcare CEO and host of the Childcare Directors Chair podcast. So we're going to dive in. Let's introduce Erica. I'm so glad that you're here. I absolutely adore you. And I'm thrilled to share your journey with the listeners because you really are a freaking powerhouse.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm super excited to be here. It's always fun to run a podcast, but I always love being on other people's podcasts. So I love being in this side of the chair today. So I can't wait to get into it and let's talk.
So we met a few years ago. I had moved back to Rhode Island and was looking at like networking and stuff, and you were doing some networking events, and that's how we met. And I instantly, that the gravitational pull, like, when somebody is your type of girl, right? And you're like, oh my God. So when I met you, I was like, okay, yep, freaking love her. Huge hugs. I love that. Love your personality. It's like over the top, which is totally my jam. But tell me, so what is it? Tell us about your podcast, and then we'll kind of like work our way back.
Sure. So the Childcare Directors Chair podcast really started as therapy. So I had been taking care of my mom, and unfortunately she passed right before COVID. And then, as you said, I had multiple childcare centers. The state came in, closed, like literally took everyone's license. So we were closed for 3 months. I had 42 staff. I was like, how am I going to, like, I take that responsibility seriously. How am I going to make sure that none of my staff lose their homes? I don't lose my home. It was a lot of stress and pressure. And there was this one day on the playground that, and I talk about this a lot, that I thought I was going to die. And I had just gotten over COVID. And here I am today, just getting over COVID again. And I just gotten over COVID, and I remember feeling like I couldn't breathe. And there was like this tightness in my chest, and I wasn't sure if it was a asthma attack, a panic attack, a heart attack. Couldn't get that out. And I remember thinking, oh my God, I can't leave because I was covering lunch breaks. And I hopped on a plane, which I had never done before, and I flew to Arizona by myself. I said to work, I said to my husband, my kids, I'm like, time out. Like this epiphany of like, you can no longer live like this. And the reason that I bring this up is there were so many educators that I know were living in this space. And so when I came back, part of my therapy was talking about it. And so I grabbed like a cheap mic and really just started talking about the things that were going on in the field. Now, I had been consulting for many different types of businesses, as you know, and doing, all the things in terms of coaching and stuff. But really, it was just like my industry is in so much crisis right now. And many industries were during COVID, but we were in such crisis, and we continue to be in such crisis that I just said, I am not the only educator who feels like this, and we need to start talking about it. And so I just started talking to myself on the podcast, in the room, as you know, right? And people just started messaging me and said, oh my God, like your story literally could be mine. Like the names could just be interchangeable. Mm-hmm. And it just really snowballed, and it grew so quickly. And I'm really, truly humbled. Like, it grew so quickly. And when people would call and they would message me, some of them would be crying and saying, I was about ready to close my center until I found you. And, I'm very positive. So I know I just started that on a very solemn, but I'm so positive and I'm so resilient. Yeah. And I said, I can overcome this.
Yeah.
And I did. And the last 2.5 years have been the last 2.5 years, probably some of the best in my 55 years of life. I
Oh,
have just lived in the space that brings me joy,
yeah.
and connecting with others and just sharing our stories and supporting each other. I have like this massive tribe all over. I mean, I know you have your podcast too. Like, how about the first time you looked at logistics of where people were listening, and
Yeah.
people from Australia and
Right.
China and Japan and like all these places, and I'm
Yeah.
like, they're listening to me
Yeah.
and other, like, it's mind blowing
It
how
is.
connected we really are. And
Yeah.
so my podcast is, for those of you listening, I know I go on a long rant, but this is what happens when you get a podcaster on a podcast, is
And another Italian. Here
yes,
we go.
yes, is, truly is, just do the things that make you happy and bring you joy and
Yeah.
bring you life, because if you don't, like, this world's pretty heavy right now,
Right.
and you can really
Well,
just get sucked down.
and what I love is, like you said, you started off negative, and that's not negative. We all go through. What I love about having this platform is we share the ish we go through in life, because
Yeah.
we cannot come out of this unscathed, right? But it's what we do in those moments that we pivot, we change, we learn, we grow. That's everything. And that's
Mhm.
what really connects everyone together. And that's why your audience resonated so much, because they saw themselves in
Yeah.
you. Unless you started sharing, people would probably, they wouldn't be having that conversation. So it's really important. So many people are like, there's so many podcasts, but it's that one person that you're going to hear or connect with that will change their trajectory, which
Yeah.
is, I mean, we get messages from people all over, and it's so rewarding. I'm like, oh my gosh, maybe 5 people listen to me. Like, it's just
I couldn't even believe it. Couldn't
right.
believe how many people out, and again, it's still humbling to this day. I go to conferences and I speak all over, and people will come up to me and run, "Oh my God, it's you!" And I'm like, who's here? And they're like, "Oh my, you're talking to me." But it's really humbling. But at the same time, I feel like my audience pours into me as much as I pour into them.
Yeah.
It's so reciprocal, and
Yeah.
it's just such a special place. And I know, for you and your listeners, it's the same.
Yeah, it's a community for sure. For sure. And that's the thing that, you've built and you're continuing to build.
Yeah.
So, how many centers do you have?
I just have 3 now.
You have 3.
I've opened up 6. I have scaled up. I've scaled down. 3 is a good number for me because I like to do other things outside of my center, and so I've been speaking on national stages all over
Right.
the country. I've been keynoting. I also run my own conference here in Rhode Island, which is coming up in May. As you know, you're speaking. Um, I just finished writing my second book. So I'm doing a lot of things, and I'm older now. I'm like 55. I know that's not old, but I'm halfway through the
I love
lifespan,
it.
right?
Halfway through.
Halfway through, and
Yes.
I still have so much more to give and learn and live. And so I keep saying I'm not leaving this planet with anything in the gas tank. It's all
Right.
it's all coming out. It's all
Right.
coming out.
People
Yeah.
are like, Renee, when the hell are you going to slow down? I just turned 56, and
Mhm.
I just feel like I'm getting, there's so much to freaking do.
Yes.
And people are like, why are you adding things? Shouldn't you be like deducting
No.
them? And I'm like,
No.
hell no. If I have, my brain doesn't freaking stop. And it's
Mhm.
like, why the hell not? Could I fail? Sure, I can. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Okay, so I flop on something, whatever, but I'll
Yeah.
just keep going and try something else. It's
Or
just
what if it takes off?
what if it takes off? It's just so much fun. And if you can have a good time, love what you do, that's the whole thing, right? Like, you
Yes.
love in every fiber of your being the industry that you're in,
Mhm.
and you want to make it the best that it can be for everyone involved,
For
right?
everyone.
And that's the key, is we want so much for everyone that it's like it brings us joy to go to work. And I say that in quotes for those that are listening,
Yeah.
because it doesn't feel like work because we
Mhm.
love it so much, right? Now, what has changed so much? You had said that there's so much that has changed in your industry in the last couple of years, certainly during COVID with the shutdown and everything like
Sure.
that. But
Well, I'm sure you've all heard of universal pre-K.
okay.
So there is a lot of investments, which is good, and many of us advocated for it. But unfortunately, most I don't know the exact percent, but I'm just going to use the term loosely. Most child care centers, a good portion of them, are owned by women,
Mhm.
probably about 80% owned by women. And of that percent, I would say probably 50% are owned by diverse women.
Mhm.
Okay. When state fund pre-K comes in and now families can have free childcare, what happens to all of those private businesses that are women-owned businesses? And so I'm concerned about that. I think that some states have got it right and are doing a mixed delivery model. So families can pick whether they want to have their child in public school or a private center. I think that that's a great idea. Parents should have a choice. And I do agree. I'm certainly not advocating. I think early childhood should have been invested in a long time ago,
Yep.
right? Long, long time ago. This is a way overdue
Mhm.
conversation. But centers are closing down left and right.
Mm.
They're competing with free. Some states are not doing a mixed delivery. So families are going to the school department. And again, I'm not for or against. I just think mix, let people have choices, right? There's
Yep.
always going to be private school and public school. You can
Yep.
send your kid to a public elementary, or you can send him to the Catholic school, the charter school, the whatever. That's
Mm.
all I'm just saying is it should really be a mixed model so that that money, that funding is equally distributed through the different methods in which children can have early childhood education,
Right.
just like families should also have access to the stipend, subsidies, whatever, not based on their income, but based on just like we do for elementary school kids, right? They all have access to schooling. The other side of that, the other problem to that is early childhood programs serve as more than early childhood spaces. And what I mean by that is working families, um, they don't end their day at 3. Most public schools end their day at 3. So now we have families who are still going to need quote unquote childcare beyond preschool, right? So now you need to offer wraparound care. I'm also concerned about 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds on school buses. I
Right.
mean,
Oh my
they
God.
don't have that. There's a litany of reasons why I think that we need to be cautious,
Mhm.
and early childhood spaces are already built out. Why are we going to move children into spaces that aren't built for early childhood education?
Right.
There's a lot of industry changes, right? Funding is good, right? That's great. The funding looks a little different. If you're a Head Start program, some of those programs are really struggling because that funding is always on the chopping block. They don't know if they're going to have funding next week. And some of that is an issue too, because yeah, it's great that they're investing, but what happens when, and I'm not political and I'm not getting political, but when the next group of people come in and decide we're no longer investing, then what happens to that system? So there's just a lot of things. There needs to be some caution. There needs to be some investment, and there needs to be voices at the table from all different types of early childhood programs, family childcare,
Yeah.
center-based, just all the different types of programs need to be at the table when these decisions are being made.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, families are struggling,
Mhm.
and it's it's really sad that in the country that we live in,
Mhm.
with the abundance that we have, that families have to make those tough choices.
Yeah.
And, if they work full time, like you said, if they can't afford, quote,
Mhm.
afford, right? They should be able to choose which
Mhm.
facility they want to send their
Yes.
children, because it's based on the person, the personality. You,
Yeah.
you have young children, you want them to be nurtured. I'm not saying that public schools aren't hiring great people. They
Of
probably
course.
are,
Yeah.
but as a parent, I want to basically interview. I don't want to just
Mhm.
assume that this is where my child has to go just because this is where I live,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
And so parents are forced to make that decision or suffer the consequences, is going, I need to go into free childcare And now what do I do with my job? Because I can't afford to quit working, but I
Mhm.
can't afford to leave work early. And now I have to either hire a babysitter. It's a
Mhm.
chaos
Yeah.
that shouldn't have to be. Like,
Yeah.
it shouldn't have to be.
No. And I think too your philosophy as a parent, like you said, when you're going out, there are so many different types of early childhood programs. You have Montessori, you have Reggio, I mean, there's play based, there's a billion of them. There's Waldorf schools. Like, what is your philosophy?
Right.
How do you want your child, right? Because those first 5 years are the most critical,
Yeah.
right? We think it's at college. It ain't in college.
No, no.
It's when they're young. It's
Yep.
that infant to 5 when they're really the
Right.
development is insane,
Yeah.
right? Really selective as to where you're sending your child and
Right.
what's happening there.
Yeah.
And there is a difference between early learning programs and childcare.
Yeah.
There's a difference too. And I know people will use those terms the same, but they're not the same,
Mhm.
right? So I think there's a lot of things to think about. I think there needs to be all the right people at the table, and
Mhm.
let's come up with some solutions. And I think parents should be there too. You know,
Yeah.
I think it should
Yeah.
be parents. I think it should be legislators. I think it should be the people who approve the funding and
Yeah.
the different types of schools that are available,
Yeah.
and a mixed model. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of that going on, and there are a lot of really great schools that are closing.
That's just
There
so
is a
that's
lot.
sad. And like you said, so many people we invest into our kids' college and where are they gonna go for to get the right job, but we need to invest in them as young little human beings because
Mhm.
that development, those first 5, 6 years are so pivotal.
Yeah.
And people don't we I mean, we there's $8 billion endowment at Brown University. What's the endowment look like at, private
Mm.
early childhood centers?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So there's
quick crown check, queen. If you're vibing with this episode, you're exactly the type of badass I built my empire for. Whether you're building your fuck it fund, launching your brand, craving a midlife reinvention, or just want to look and feel like a million freaking bucks, I've got you. From merch that speaks your truth to digital tools, coaching, and yes, even collagen that slaps. I serve the sass, the strategy, and the sparkle to help women over 40 take up space and cash checks doing what they love. Head on over to reneecarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn your midlife into your power era.
So there's a lot of things. So, I've been using the mic to really talk about these things, and help advocate, but also bring some, because it's not all doom and gloom. There are a lot of educators who are like, their boots are like super glued to the ground and so we're not going anywhere.
Mhm,
Like, this is early childhood. Our kids deserve the best education, they
mhm.
deserve the best educators, and they deserve to have spaces that are built for them,
Yeah,
not places that are built for factory workers, but
yeah,
places that are built for children to explore and learn and play and be nurtured and loved. I
mm,
mean, we already saw, and we see it now, the difference in students that didn't have that during COVID because centers were closed and people kept their kids home. We have those children now, and the level of, I don't want to say learned helplessness, but it's real. It's real. And there's so many differences in the way that children are coming to us. They're just not thriving in the way that they were years prior. And
right.
some of that, people will say social media and phones and all. There's a billion
It's
things that we can say,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
What are we going to do about it? We know many of the problems. What are we doing about it?
Yep, exactly. And
Mhm,
the other thing too that it's been going on forever and ever is teachers, educators
mhm,
are some of the most underpaid
mhm.
profession. It's sad. Like
Yeah.
they're developing the next generation. They're
Mhm,
laying the foundation and they're nurturing and caring and like there's so much that goes into that role. I can't say a job
mhm.
because especially women, I know we yes, there are men in that profession,
Sure.
obviously, right? But
It's mostly women.
it's mostly women, and they
Mhm,
do this because they love children and they love what they
mhm.
do. and they just don't get compensated enough for it. And oftentimes they can't afford childcare for their own families. And
and you have to continue education. No profession, right? No doctor is making under $100,000, right? But
right.
and people are like, well, why is this? Let me just break this down really, really quickly. When people say, well, I pay so much for my child's early childhood education, the ratios are a big factor. And they're there for safety, but ratios are a big factor, right? And I've heard this said a lot. Well, I pay more for my child's early childhood than if they go to college. Well, a college professor will have a student in a room for an hour, and they can have 40 kids in a room for that 1 hour. And then they have the next class of 40 students, right? Okay. It's a widget factory. In an early childhood setting, an infant teacher will have 4 students, and only those 4 students for up to 50 hours a week.
Right.
So when you break it down, right, this is where the costs come in. When you break it down, and somebody who's there, it's usually 50 hours if you work full time. You figure a half hour to work, half hour back, and you're 40 hours at work. It's 50 hours. Most childcare centers probably make $4 an hour. $4 an hour. That's what we're being paid.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's why teachers are not paid what they're worth, because centers are not getting the funding to pay it. And so that's why I said, yes, funding needs to be infused. Absolutely. So then teachers can get what they deserve.
Yeah.
But without that funding and just private pay, it's not doable.
Yep.
It's not doable. Insurance, that's another thing that's just happened. There's been an insurance crisis in our industry the last year. A lot of insurance companies are pulling away and not insuring early childhood programs.
Wow.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things internally that are driving up the costs that parents can't afford and centers can't afford to be open otherwise. So we really do need that infusion of money. That's the only way that it will survive in the way that it is right now.
Yeah. Well, and the community that you've created and being able to bring, light to all of these topics and having those conversations is so important.
Yeah.
And what is the book that you just finished? What is your second book?
Well, my second book is about using your voice. So it's not released yet, but it's about using your voice to advocate, to do just that. So raising the bar. Using your voice, raise the bar.
Yeah. Beautiful. Is it out yet? Is it published yet?
Nope. It's actually being launched.
Yeah.
At my conference.
Oh, fantastic.
Dropping it on my conference. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that's perfect.
So it's over at the editor folks. They're doing the the sprucing it up, if you will.
Sprucing it. Yep.
Yeah, they're doing all the editing stuff there. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Oh, I can't wait. And tell us about the conference. Tell everyone about it.
So the Early Childhood Empowerment Conference is here in Rhode Island. We have speakers from all over the country coming, and it's a 3-day conference. And the first 2 days are really day one is focused on ownership. So it's all those things that we just talked about. How are we going to market? How are we going to separate ourselves? Where are we going to find funding? It's all those pieces that really refer to the duties of an owner. The second day is leadership day. So it's those daily operations, how we're leading our staff, how we're leading our programs, how we're making a bigger impact in the community. And then day 3 is educator day, where the teachers come together with the admins, and we just work on our best practice. We learn all different types of things, whether you pick your own track, but whether you want to learn more about literacy or educator mental health and wellness, or just how to live your best life, that's where you come in. How to live your best life and do all those things and see yourself as the brand and putting yourself together and putting yourself out there. So there's so many different aspects that you can take from this conference. Lots of opportunities to network. We've got a speed networking. We've got an awards night where we're going to be awarding 10 of the best ECE professionals in the country. So we're really super excited. And we've got a few different types of learning styles. So depending on what you like, we've got I'm going to say it wrong, pitch at you, but that's not how you say it, like a mini TED talk.
Yeah.
So we've got a few of those going on where you can hear 5 speakers in 1 hour, no fluff, just giving you the facts. And then we have other sessions, breakout sessions, we have keynotes. So, however you learn best, you're going to find it here at this conference.
Yes, I'm so excited for that. So how many years have you been doing these conferences?
Just
2.
two. This is
Yeah.
my second one. Yeah, last year we had
And it's a huge
320 educators. Yeah,
120 that's
we had
fantastic.
320 educators, 50 vendors, couple keynotes. But yeah, this year we're really pushing. We're really just pushing the bar. We didn't have any after hour things last year. We did this year. We have live podcasts that are going on. We have an author section where you can meet some authors, and they're doing book signings there. So lots of really exciting stuff going on.
That's so awesome. I'm very grateful and humble to be asked to be a speaker on this. This is going to be a blast. And so a lot of people are like, how are you speaking at an early childhood? Because they know me as the, bold badass. But when we were talking, it's like the power personal branding and, how important that is for educators, for everyone, especially in the, world of AI and uncertainty in the markets and all
Well, just like I said too, like as programs, right? In schools, we have to figure out how are we going to stand out in a sea of other schools, right? And so, building that brand, whether it's and for many of us, like I am the brand of my school for sure, right? Lots of times the owner, the face of the school is the brand. So I have to be very aware of what I say, where I say it, what I do it, how I send out my emails, like all those things matter in the way that you're respected and looked at in the field. And I'm certainly very fun like you. If you're looking for a dry educator, it is not me.
Nope.
If you're looking for a place where your kid is going to come in, get a big hug, probably get a cupcake on their birthday, we're going to dance, we're going to have PJ days, and we're also going to learn how to read, write, and have a great time, well, then I'm probably your school, right? But you don't know that when you're looking through Google. So you have to be able to figure out very quickly when you have any type of communication with my school, what our brand is.
Absolutely.
Beyond the logo and the colors and all the things.
Exactly. And that's
who we are and what we stand for.
And that's why I love personal branding. I love branding because it's how you make somebody feel. So many people get caught up with, the look of the place. And like you said, the logo, the colors. Who are you? What is your moral compass? How do you let people feel? How do they feel after they have, contact with you and the staff? I mean, everyone that works at the center, they need to have a powerful brand because that's who parents are trusting into, helping to raise their children. Because that's really what it is. It's a partner to help raise your child. So no,
one of the things I love about our school is we're not just growing children, we're growing our educators. Like so many of the ladies that have started with me, and I don't mean to want to keep saying ladies. I do have male educators, by the way, who are some of the favorite teachers in the school. But some of these ladies that I meet, some of them are really young when they start with me, and they've been with me 8, 9, 10 years. They've moved into director positions, and I'm really happy to help grow them. And sometimes, there's this philosophy that I learned very early on in my career is, why do you want to do that? Because you grow them out of your program. And I say, that's a sign of great leadership. I'm okay with growing someone out of my program. I don't want anybody to ever become stagnant in my circle of influence. That's fine. If you need to grow, you need to open your own center, whatever you got to do, do it. And I'm going to foster that. And I truly mean that. There are so many educators that worked in my school who now are doing other things on bigger platforms, other ways. And I'm proud of that. I'm not sad about that.
Yeah, I love that because so many people have that limited belief. Like you have to be, you're in this box and you have to stay in this box because you can't supersede me. And I'm the same way as you, like we're building network marketing team, right? You surpass me, have at it. Like, this is fantastic. I'm going to applaud you. If you leave and you go do something else, I'm still going to support you. That's women, that's people, that's human, that's heartfelt. And that's the difference with building a heartfelt business. And that's why people can feel that from you, because they know it's sincere.
Yeah. And reciprocal relationships, I think, is another thing as we get to this stage in our life,
Yeah.
that reciprocal relationships are the only ones I'm interested in. Because when you're young, right? When I was young, I'll say when I was young.
Mhm.
Maybe I don't want to summarize everybody's life. When I was young, I wanted to people please, and I
Yeah.
would always do way above and beyond, which was okay, except for I started to realize as I got a little older, wait, this funnel is only going one way. And
Right.
so you have to be really mindful of the spaces that and the energy where you put yourself. And
Right.
that, and I think that really was one of the things that came to me a couple of years ago. I'm like, not all my relationships in my life were reciprocal. And, sometimes you're the giver, sometimes you're the taker. But
Yeah.
if you're always the giver, that might not always be a good relationship, right?
Yeah.
If nobody's shaking you and saying, "Oh my God, you look like you're ready to collapse, but I
Right.
still need five more things from you,"
Right.
that's not a good place to be. It's just
No. No, no, for sure, for sure. I totally agree because we need to the older that we get and I'm with you, my circle has gotten smaller.
hmm
And I'm happy about that. It's not like
yeah.
I'm happy
Well,
about
it's a
that.
strong circle, right? It's a
It's a
strong
strong
circle.
circle, yeah, and
Yeah,
I'm very selective with who I bring in to my circle.
yeah,
Before, it was definitely like, "Oh, I wanna be seen, I wanna do this, I
yeah.
want to have all these people that know me," and, like, then you realize most
hmm
of it is fake,
hmm
and that was the big thing, right? If it's a fake relationship, it's not
hmm
for me. I want authentic people in my world,
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
So
Amen.
but yeah, I think we get to that point after a certain age.
Yeah, it's funny. And I love that this is the only podcast that I've ever been on that we could say a bad word. And I'm Italian, so, it comes naturally. But, one of the most funniest TikTok videos I have ever seen, and it was probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. And there's this lovely lady, so dressed in demure, and she starts singing, "I don't give
Yeah,
a blink anymore." And I died laughing hysterically. And I'm like, if anything ever encapsulated what it's like to be a woman at 55 or 60 years old, is that video.
it
I'm like,
really
girl,
is.
that is the national anthem of
Yeah,
her age, right?
yes,
It
yes.
just is. It just is. If you were born in 1970, that's your anthem.
Yep, exactly. 1969 for me. But
There
yes,
you
that's
go.
I even used that sound and did a TikTok video because it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
perfect. That's just where we are, right? So, what is next for you, Erica?
What is
What do you
next?
Yeah,
Oh, girl, I don't know. I keep evolving every day. I'm not sure. I think I'm just going to keep on the trajectory that I'm on. I'm just going to keep getting into spaces and just talking with people and supporting folks,
yeah.
that want to that want to grow in some kind of way. I'm there to support them. And I don't know. I don't know what the future brings. I just know I'm going to keep pushing myself to do whatever it is that my heart calls me to do.
I love that. From speaking to writing books to
Yeah.
creating conferences to running the childcare centers to developing new leaders, like
Yeah.
it is it's very wonderful to see this, to see
Mhm.
you rise and shine. And
Thank you.
how can people find you and support you and follow you?
Sure. Well, you can find us on YouTube. It's super easy because everything is branded the same. Childcare Directors Share Podcast. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Instagram as CCDC Podcast. You can find me on Apple, Spotify, all your favorite listening platforms. Again, if you're in early childhood education or you care about it, hop on over. Give us a follow. Give us a like. Give us a comment. It all matters. We'd love to hear from you and see what you thought about today's episode of my rambling on about early childhood. But it's important and somebody's got to
It
talk
is.
about it. So it's
Yep.
going to be me, I guess.
I love it. I love it. I absolutely adore you. I wish you nothing but happiness, healthy, and huge success in
Oh, well,
26 and
same to you,
beyond.
Les. Same
So
to you.
thank you so much for sharing your journey, sharing everything with everyone. And everyone, please go follow Erica, follow her podcast, listen to her, make sure you like and follow the podcast, both of ours, because that truly, you have no idea how much that means to us as creating these platforms. So really appreciate that. Love you, Erica. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you on the next Unapologetically Badass. Bye, all.
Bye.
Wrap for today, Queen, but don't just walk away inspired, walk away activated. If this episode lit a fire under your fabulous ass, hit that follow button, leave a review, and share it with your fiercest ride or die. Your support helps this podcast reach even more women who are ready to reclaim their power. And hey, if you're ready to look, feel, and earn like $1 million freaking bucks, I've got an entire badass empire waiting for you. From confidence boosting merch to brand strategy, coaching, collagen, content, and everything in between, head on over to reneecarbonefleming.com or tap the link in the show notes. Pick your flavor of badass and let's turn midlife into your power era. Stay bold, stay unapologetic, and wear the damn crown.